As I was coming down around 8,450 meters, a climber was, she was left behind by the team and the guides. So yeah, and I decided to, rescue her alone.
Sometimes we talk about incredible feats of strength, and for me, they are some of the most motivational stories possible. Today, we're talking about trekking the Himalayas with NIMSDAI. You may have seen his hit Netflix documentary. This guy is an absolute beast, and he has some funny and witty stories, but also some really, truly inspirational stories that will help you apply what he went through to your own day-to-day life, whether it's entrepreneurship or business or studies or sports. This guy has some incredible stories to listen to. Today's video was sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, the best motivational clothing brand in the world, where you can now get the Rise and Grind series, the Hardest Work in the Room series, the Inspired Change series, and the new book in the link in the description. Purchasing a book or a t-shirt or some of the gym clothes helps support projects like this. 100% of the profits go back into that. Before that, let's listen to trekking in the Himalayas with none other than the legend, the GOAT, NIMSDAI. I'm your host, Jordan Mulligan. Let's jump into the video.
So it was in 2012 December. I think I was 29 years old, almost 30, I think. So that was when I first ever trekked to Himalayas. I never climbed anything. I never knew about anything. And so on this trail, obviously as you go through Namche Bazaar is a really nice village in the elevation. It's beautiful. If you haven't been there, you should go, man. And as you walk past, you see a massive mountain called Amadablam, and it dominates the whole of the Kumbh Valley, and it's so beautiful. And I said to my guide, I was like, "Hey brother, is there any chance I can climb this?" And he laughed. He's like, "Names, people who have climbed Everest give up on that mountain." I was like, "Oh, okay." But then I really wanted to feel that experience of how it feels like reaching to the summit of this mountain. So convinced him, and we're taught how to wear the crampons in this Loguchi village, roughly around 5,000 meters, and we're just walking in the grass, replicating that snow and learning how to climb. And yeah, eventually we summited in the Loguchi, which is 6,200 meter peak, and then from there, it just started for me. It was amazing, man. We were in the summit quite early in the morning, and then as the sun was coming out, it leads the whole of the Himalayan range. You can see the Everest, the Lhotse, the Nirmal, and all that range. And yeah, and you just feel like you're standing above the clouds and all that. Of course, you get fresh cold air hitting your face, and you just feel so fresh as well. But at the same time, you also worry about, now I have to go back down and all that. So yeah, you are all your senses are so alive at that moment, I think. It's such a good experience. So I tried to do that in 2016, and it wasn't even planned. It was the opportunity came in when my leave from normally we get 3 weeks leave between the operational tour and all that, but we got 4 weeks leave, and I was like, I cannot just go and go on a beach holiday and do not do anything or achieve nothing. So I was like, what can I do? But at that same time, Everest was on. So I convinced my wife and went to the bank, told them I need a loan to buy a car, and then got 15,000 pounds. I still remember it at the interest rate of 3.9%, and emptied my saving, and I went to Nepal. And then it was another crazy experience there. I was almost a month behind than the rest of the season's mountaineer. Most of the people were waiting for the summit bead and all that. So, and I was trying to do it solo. So I was trying to carry all my oxygens and everything by myself and all that. So yeah, and what happened was, at the end I got altitude sickness, which is HAPE. That's high altitude pulmonary edema. That's water in the lungs. Then I was so angry with myself, with all this knowledge, because at that point I had climbed Dhaulagiri already, the world's 7th highest mountain. I was in a mountain cell within the SPS. So I was all this knowledge, and it's yeah. But it's about sometimes not knowing your body enough, and you're pushing a bit more, and then that's what it leads into those kind of incidents. But then what I did was I came down to Lukla. There's more detail in the book, obviously, just to keep it very short. I tried to believe myself that I can heal. And my thought process was, if you got a same patient in the hospital with the same illness, the one who has got a positive mindset, the one who believes that he can heal better, will get better. So I was kind of self-meditating, thinking that I can get better, and eventually, I was 95% okay. And that's when I didn't only summit. That's when the rescue happened, and this rescue was particularly a huge role in my life. It played a massive role. So as I was coming down around 8,450 meters, a climber was she was left behind by the team and the guides. So yeah, and I decided to rescue her alone, and it took me 90 minutes to rescue from balcony down to Camp 4. And at that point I handed to the rescue team, and just to give you an example, the rescue team took 2 days to bring her from Camp 4 to Camp 2. So that was and then at that point I realized, wow, if I have this oxygen at 8,000 meters, I can save someone's life like that. So even though my goal was to climb all this mountain without oxygen, at that point I realized it wasn't about the ego, and also I changed my kind of style. But yeah, so and then within 4 days of summiting Everest, I was in operation kicking doors. So, and nobody knew at this point other than my wife, not even my family. Nobody knew it, and I was. And for this project, not only one goal was enough. It's such a huge, long, endurance project that you need to have so much element. And the Sherpa brothers have always been close to my heart, and they are legends. And it's so amazing to kind of drive this force together as a Nepalese climbers and represent them in a highest level. So. But then I also represent the Gurkhas and all that. So sometimes you feel like you don't have any rights to let them down. Then you think like special forces, what you have done, and the values and all that. Nobody tells you anything at the end of the day. But then it's a self-induced pressure that could be sometimes advantage, and that could be sometimes disadvantage. But it all depends upon how you capitalize that.
Thank you so much to Nims for giving us his time. People may have seen the documentary with Nims, and you may know some of the stuff that he did in that documentary. This interview was recorded 2 days before he went off to do the Winter K2. So if you guys know what he was doing, we went to his house, we sat down and we did this interview, and he had all his gear out ready to go, and he gave us all his time to be able to do this, which was unbelievable. And then he so casually said, I said, why is all the gear outside? He so casually said, tomorrow I'm off on my way to go do Winter K2. I said, oh wow, what's Winter K2? He said, nobody's ever done it before. It's got 100% fatality rate. And I was like, okay, are you concerned? He said, no, we'll be fine, we'll be fine. This guy's mentality is on another level. The question of death doesn't even come to his mind. He's sipping tea in his house, knowing that the next day he's going to do Winter K2. And that is the impenetrable mind of NIMSDAI, and it's why his documentary was such a success. I recommend go watching it. I recommend purchasing Nims's book, link in the description, and Nims's Instagram will be linked below as well. If you want to see what I get up to on Instagram, it's at Jordan Mulliganbrother, and today's video was sponsored by the great www.mulliganbrothers.com, the best motivational clothing brand in the world, where you can now get the Rise and Grind gym series, the Hardest Work in the Room gym series clothes, and the Inspire Change t-shirts as well. Purchasing some of the gym clothes or the books or anything like that, 100% of the profits go back into creating this content. We will fly around the world and find the latest and greatest motivational stories that there is. Guys, thank you for watching. Move forward with passion and purpose in your life, and you might just inspire change in somebody else's. Have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.